Coming to you from UBN Studios in Burbank, California. You're listening to the Unsugar-Coated Podcast with your host, Ollie Alanius.
Hello, everybody, and welcome back to the season finale of your favorite social good podcast, Unsugar-Coated with Alia. So happy to have been through these amazing segments with you, from everybody from Wesley King to Tevin Everett, an amazing filmmaker, Nazanin Noor, an amazing actress and comedian, as well as Sky Nelson and just, Kate and Daniel, everybody. It's been an amazing season. If you don't know who I'm talking about, what you need to do is go check them out. But it's another season that we have focused on growing with the flow. And every person that I bring to you, we are here to have a conversation about what that means and what that's looked like for us. How do we get through it? And, living your purpose is definitely one of them. And that is what we will be talking about today. Before I do so, I just want to remind you guys again, please go to Unsugar-Coated Media's channel on YouTube and check out the social good shorts that we have released. We will be releasing more, but these three initial ones are so incredibly powerful. They focus around three incredible individuals that shared a very vulnerable story in order to create social impact through storytelling. I think that everyone will be surprised that we did this in an effort to really show what our charity efforts do. What we do is help other creatives learn to create social impact through content creation. And I'm very, very honored to be able to showcase the products that we're able to do with that. So actually, my guest tonight has seen those. So today has actually seen those. So we'll talk about that a little bit. But before I do, let me just say a couple more things about living your purpose. Purpose in general consists of the whatever is centrally motivating us in life, right? Like the reasons you get up in the morning. That sense of purpose will guide your directions of whatever it is that you're trying to do, where you're going, your relationships, your work, your parenting, or just even your self-existence. What is our purpose? I think it's kind of one of the biggest questions we ask ourselves. What are we here for? We talked before about how vast and how huge this universe is, but yet you need to know that the universe conspired so that you can be here. So knowing that means that you do have a purpose. And I will say that not everybody is intended to be the big bat, not everyone is going to be Jennifer Lopez or whomever that you see out that you say, wow, I wish I could be them. What about just being grateful that you're you? Be grateful that you woke up today. Be grateful that you can have conversations that you want to have. You are blessed. I don't know you, but I can tell you, you are blessed. So with that, I'm excited to bring you a guest who has not only living her purpose for herself, but spreading the love and news with other people. So without further ado, let me go ahead and introduce her. Ladies and gentlemen, Billboard recording artist, host, and vocal coach April Diamond climbed the Billboard dance charts in 2019 with her debut single, Lose Control. She has since toured music festivals and concerts throughout Europe to rave critical acclaim. Her latest single, I Got the Music in Me, has similarly experienced chart-climbing success that is up there with artists like Bieber. And here to discuss the conversation of living with purpose, she's going to help me close out this season intended to inspire you to grow with the flow. Everybody, please welcome Miss April Diamond.
Thank you so much. I am so excited to be here. Oh yeah, I love your show. This is so great.
Well, thank you. And you and I connected. Shocker, Clubhouse, guys. I'm telling you.
Yeah.
I'm telling you.
Yep, Clubhouse.
You're an amazing singer. You have, and I mean this genuinely, you have an incredible, authentic social media platform, one that most people could aspire to have because people really love what you're doing. And, I do want to thank you for being here. Tell me, where do you want to start? Because it can't have been easy.
Right.
And really on the topic of living your purpose, do you feel right now you are living your purpose?
That's a great question. And it is always a challenge to figure out where do I want to start. But I do feel blessed to be here, like you were saying. And my journey started, from younger to, one day maybe, and, how far can I actually go? I remember asking myself that. And apparently the answer is all the way if you want.
Right.
It's a journey, and I feel like I could write books about what I've been through. But it's not easy. And I think the key to the success of it is you've got to wake up and you've got to have a real hardcore mental focus and say, this is what I want, and I'm going to do everything in my power to get to, where I want to be, but also to take all the beautiful, deserving, talented people with me who want to do similar things. And so in one of the interviews that I did recently, I said, they were asking about, the Billboard chart and about currently I have a song on the radio now called I Got the Music in Me. It's a remake of the 1974 Kiki D hit. And I'm accompanied by the big powerhouse choir, and David Longoria, artist and producer, plays on it. And it's been on radio, 5 national radio charts for the last, we're going on 17 weeks, and it's continuing up. So as an independent artist, I have to say that is a feat. Yes. And all the other independents are like, go April, But what I had said in the article was, my success is your success. And whatever I do, I want to teach the next gen of recording artists and independent artists especially, but everybody, how to get to this point and go beyond what I'm doing.
Right.
I think there's a lot of wide open spaces for the arts and for entertainment, and I think people should, reinvent themselves and say, if that's what you really want, reinvent yourself and find a new way to do it, because technology is changing all the time. And there are so many ways to do things quickly, but also take the time to develop your art. So there's a lot to say about that.
No, I love so much of it, especially the part about what you represent and how you want other people to feel.
Right.
So what is it that you feel you represent as an artist? And yeah, for the independent man, I mean, like that's a real thing. The independents are like the people who really, it's like the equivalent to the entrepreneur in some way.
Sure. Yeah, exactly.
They're the ones who are like, I'm not waiting for someone to give me permission. I'm freaking doing this, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, I think that there's probably historically not a whole lot to point to, in terms of like there are some of independent artists who've actually really made it and done very well. But I think generally speaking, it's really tough for us because we've got to do it on our own, and we've got to find the financial backing and the people and building the village. But I want to say to the independent artists out there specifically, don't downplay what you already have, and don't downplay the beautiful village of people that are around you that want to see you succeed, because that alone, you don't have to have millions, although it would be helpful. But if you don't, there is still a way to do it, because when people are endeared to your cause and they really love what you're doing, and they see, that you're intentional and that you have, good intentions for your music and you want to go do great things, they want to join your cause. They want to help you. So push forward.
Yeah, I mean, and I was commenting on that because I think you have, and it's substantial. I know with my IG presence, don't be ashamed if you want to go follow me, audience, on IG at Alia_Sugar.
That's right.
Alia_Sugar. No, but I say that
That's
I've
right.
always been very authentic because I want authentic. It's not about the follows and the likes. It's about real people and real engagement, right? And you genuinely have that. I know yours is like 160 plus, I think, K.
I'm at about 131.
Oh, 131. Okay.
I think right now.
It
fluctuates. It goes up, it goes down. It kind of does a thing. But it's growing daily. And I think it grows because people engage with me. Like I literally go through, and as it's scrolling, I'm reading all the things going, yes, hi. And I see a lot of the same people.
Right. Right.
Me, who, they join, and I'm like, hey, I remember you from the other day, or I remember this, or remember that. And it's just really great they engage with me. They tell me it's my birthday, or they say my family is sick, or they say, whatever. They tell me about their lives.
Right.
So I decided to have like Monday is New Music Monday, where I get to talk about all the progress of my record, and I get to talk about those things, and also highlight other independent artists and other artists in general who want to talk about their releases and their music. And then I just started Giving Tuesdays, which is normally what happens around the holidays, right?
Right. Well, it's once a year, but technically it's every Tuesday.
The Tuesday.
But yeah, there's a big Giving Tuesday. Actually,
Right
I think
before.
it's in December or the end of November, because we're part of it. We do a big campaign for that since we're a nonprofit.
Oh, that's
But
great.
yeah.
So I just started it now, and I said, why don't we just practice giving before the holidays, and just on Tuesdays we're going to highlight, ways to give. And so I've gotten a lot. Like I just started that last week. So all these people are messaging me going, what are your, nonprofits? What are the different causes? And today was just about, because today's Tuesday, today was just about do something nice for somebody.
Yes.
You're standing in line getting coffee. And, you get up there. Like, I've had people actually buy my coffee. I'm like, that is so nice. And the guy looks at me and he goes, now you go buy somebody's coffee. I'm like,
Right.
I will. So,
Right.
and call your mom or show up and help somebody that really is having a rough day and it's going to interrupt your schedule and it's going to take time out of your life. But those are the things that matter. And so that was my little thing for today. But the engagement of the different days and the different things, I really think that people appreciate it. But I think the most important thing is it's about them.
Right.
Right?
Well,
It's about drawing them in and finding out.
That is why you do get the engagement you do, I believe. And that's what I love to see about it, because I see a lot of people who are like, oh, yeah, I'm like this influencer. And I'm like, you ain't influencing squat. Stop playing.
Oh.
But I love when I see realness. And I
Sure.
remember even when we had talked about, you coming on the show and like having that conversation that was going to inspire others. And I look at what you're doing, even by like just getting out there and doing it, taking a song like you did. Let's go back to the beginning of that, because you had the opportunity to work with David Longoria.
Yes.
So tell us a little bit about David Longoria and why people should be definitely paying attention to that. And then the experience of working with him to create this music.
Yes. David is a very well-known Grammy Award-winning, many awards, and jazz trumpeter, and he's written so much music. Follow him on Spotify, David Longoria. He's also a producer and owner at Del Oro Music. And so David and I have worked together for quite some time, and he and I connected actually at a church event where I was performing, because I've performed in my choirs in my growing up life as a kid, and when I was in college I did a lot of stuff with the church choirs and that kind of thing, which is fun. I like directing choirs. But he and I connected there, and I started singing on some other artist records and doing some other projects with him and features and that sort of thing. So he's like, well, I think it's time for you to make some singles and make your album. And so we've done a few projects together, and everything that we do is very successful. Everything that we do has a lot of heart in it. It has a lot of everything that we want to say, and all of the good music and all of the good ideas that we want to put into it. And we go through the process of just managing every detail. If it's not quite right, then we need to redo it. Or if it's not quite there, we want to find the balance of what it should be. And he and I together are very good at making it exactly what it's supposed to be. And I think we've done that, and we'll continue to do that.
I love that. You make good music together.
Make good music together. Yeah, every detail. And I think the hard part sometimes for artists is like redoing something, or knowing you've spent time on something and you're like, okay, I have to go back and redo this. I just want to tell you, just redo it, because in the end, when you hear it on the radio like I hear it, and you think to yourself, I almost didn't change that, but I'm really glad that I did, because now I have to hear it a lot. But It's exactly what I wanted it to be. So
Right. Yeah. And there is a good feeling that I know.
Yeah.
Although I feel as creatives, we can always go back and change something. Like I could go back to any of my books and continue editing. I promise you.
You could find something else.
For sure.
So when do we stop?
Yeah,
Where's the stopping point? Yeah.
Well, and also that idea of perfection, though I do get exactly what you mean. I'm not even trying to say like, no, especially for things that are going to be consumed by massive audiences. Yes,
Right.
you really want to do your best. But I also feel like sometimes that sense of perfection can hold people back. Because then they're so focused on it depends on what it is what I'm trying to say.
Yes,
because sometimes it is important to just make, like my first book, I love it because it's my first book, but as a now more seasoned author, I look back and be like, oh wow, it's like your first TikTok video.
It's like your first video ever. Or
and
the first time I got behind a recording studio mic, I was like, wow, this is loud. I was like, wow. You look back and you're like, oh, that was silly, but it was authentic. It was you.
Mm-hmm.
It's your thing. It's who you are, and as you grow, I think for us, those of us that have been doing this for a while, we look at those things as markers.
Right. Absolutely. Milestones. Absolutely. Now, you are a 4-time nominee at the LA Music Award for Best Female Pop Artist of the Year and Best Electronica Dance Artist. And you are also, by David Longoria, of course, or you were part of an international movement singing We Are One, along with 700 other artists who sang the song on the White House lawn on May 20th, 2017.
Yes.
Tell me about that experience.
So that was a couple of years ago. Yes. We Are One Concerts is an amazing, it's an amazing organization that we're working on right now to ramp back up again, because it's a series of concerts. And, because of COVID, we actually had our very first concert, and then 2 weeks after it was supposed to happen, like
Right.
You know, we're like, no. But so we're ramping that back up again. But We Are One Concerts is based on a song that David wrote called We Are One. And it's on YouTube. You can check it out. Just look up We Are One, David Longoria. And he also has a video on there where he tells the story of We Are One and how it became what it is. But yeah, we had our first event there on the White House lawn, and it was in conjunction with the church there in Brooklyn. And so the pastor came out and he did his thing, and he had his worship team, and they did it was really fun. It was all the people, and they're just, you know, such excitement and such you know, amazing people that want to give and do great things in the world, and all the kids were out there with their little flags of all the countries. It was super cute. And I got to sit down on the lawn. There's some videos out there somewhere on YouTube or whatever of me sitting on the lawn with them singing We Are One, We Are One, you know, playing with the kids. And they were just so fantastic. I wanted to take them all home with me. But they belong to other parents, so.
Right.
But it was amazing, and it's a very rare occasion that you get to go and perform on the White House lawn. And so that was quite an event, and I'm really grateful and thankful to be a part of it, and I'm excited to see how it's going to influence and impact our kids that are having anxiety and stressed out about going back to school and all these things. Our kids need to get back to the arts, and they need to get back to their purpose,
right,
and feel like they belong. And so We Are One Concerts is about bringing the kids together, anti-bullying, mental health, building your village like a positive village of people where you have friends, and you know, you gain new relationships. You know, as we sing together, we get to know each other. And we want the kids of the next generation to not bully and to not worry about race, and to just learn to get along and to have tolerance, you know, and instead of looking at other cultures like, ew, like, oh, wow, that's interesting. Like, we learn from each other. So We Are One Concerts is truly about embracing the differences.
I love that. I have to say something because, you know, we like to stay unsugar-coated around here.
Right.
I would like to invite, it's funny when people say the word tolerance, though, to me.
Sure.
I'm going to say why, because to me, to tolerate something means that I'm simply withstanding it, even though I shouldn't have to. And I'm not trying to correct you. Don't take it like that,
no,
April.
not at all.
But I feel like it's very interesting when we talk on the subjects of accepting, we should be cognizant of the words we use as well, right? And tolerance, I don't feel, I mean, I don't know, I'm more asking you, like, because I know I hear it, like, don't get me wrong, I hear this all the time, but then I'm like, but you want me to tolerate somebody or accept them for who they are, which is a beautiful freaking miracle, just like I am. Right?
I totally agree. I personally feel the same exact way about the word tolerance, but because it's used so often, I think I use it because people understand, you know, what it is. But maybe we should use another word.
It's a thought. No, I mean, it's just a thought. I don't know. I'm not like, I mean,
yeah, no,
because I say things, I've been correct. Like, I didn't know that, you know, somebody had said committed suicide, somebody who lost a family member to suicide. Well, committing usually is associated with committing a crime, doing something, and though taking your own life as a crime. Like, we've got to grow growing with the flow. Yes. And some people don't understand that part of the flow is understanding more about one another and how we operate.
Sure.
Right?
Yes.
I feel like society just came along and said, this is a table, April. This is a table. Now, if I come up and call this a farfig Newton, you're going to call me I'm crazy. And I'm going to say it's a farfig Newton. You're going to say, no, it's not. It's a table. Well, how do you know it's a table? Because someone told you it's a table, and you now have that belief. Sure. But my point is, what if it's not just a table? What if they're, you know, in the way that we looking through things at different lenses, I believe helps us evolve. And as a person who was raised with a lot, and I don't mean to disparage my biological family, but I was raised with a lot of wrong racist ideologies. And it wasn't that they were some cookie white. I mean, and by the way, this is from a family still of diversity, because it's not just white people that can be racist. And I mean that genuinely. You know?
Yes, and I've heard from some of my African American friends that it's the African American community also has some, you know, issues within their own community too, which I was not aware of. And
every colorism is definitely but and to keep it on point, you know, because I definitely want people to feel like when we have these conversations, definitely other people are involved. But I'm very excited because yet going back to the point, you are a woman who people can, and I'm just like speaking to the obvious, you know, in the music industry and everything, it's like if you're not 21, if you're not, and I'm not saying you're the, you know, like I would never dare ask you your age, but I'm a woman and I know we're around the same age, and honestly I think you are badass for saying I'm not going to be limited by a number, which is what society can often do. So I think your talent speaks for what you're doing. How do you navigate a world that's largely trying to say, well, you know, maybe you should try something else or whatever, you know what I mean? Those limiting beliefs that they put on you.
That's an interesting and good question. I've already had people tell me, why are you doing this? Why don't you try something else? I'm like, I tried other things and it always led me back here. It always led me back here to sing for you and for the world, and there are other things that I do. But when you're sort of meant to do something, I don't mean sort of, I mean definitely. When you're meant to do something, it's like all roads lead back to the thing.
Right.
So, you know, and me, you know, I'm always like asking God, okay, what? And he's like, it's that way. So that, you know, I just followed the arrows and I tried to do other things. Now, in conjunction with being a singer, I'm also a voice coach, and I'm taking on some other projects too and starting new businesses too, because I can see that, you know, there's something else I want to do on a grander scale, which is, you know, raise funds for nonprofits and really lobby the world and say, hey, look, we need to help these kids type thing. So I have a passion to do that. But I also have a passion for, you know, other up-and-coming artists, for myself to finish albums. There's so many things I want to do that I don't limit myself by that, because I think I've gotten this far and I have such a wonderful team of people behind me, and I've met people like you, you know, you're just a beautiful person all the way around, and doing such great things. Just there's so many things that we can do for ourselves to expand our talents and to get it out into the world in a bigger way. We should show others how to do it.
Right.
And if we keep doing what we're doing, then we are creating some momentum for that, right? We're creating the excitement, and other artists will look and they tell me, they're like, April, you know, you really give me hope when you're out there doing what you do. So I'm going to keep doing that.
Yeah, I love that you said that, because even when it is in your path, it's in your journey. Like I think about that with the media, because people now are like, oh, you're in media now, but you had this gap where I was doing businesses. Yes, but before that, I started out in the music industry and in the media and entertainment, and like to come back to it, because it's when you sat down and asked me, what do you really want to do? That was my answer. I need to go be a creative the way that I always felt I was. And to your point too, like even I remember there was a song that I had done with an amazing producer. He's huge now, and I love him to death. But I didn't have enough belief in myself when I was younger. So when you were struggling, was there ever a time where you struggled with that self-confidence? And did that have anything to do, like you said, with like now coming back around to saying, forget what everyone else thinks, I'm doing what fulfills me?
I struggled with confidence for so long. Struggled with confidence so much for the longest time, younger, right? But the way that I approached my struggle with confidence was to say, okay, if that's what you want, then you're going to have to take the steps to do that, to get to that place, right? So I put myself in situations where I had no choice but to do, you know, to focus and to get it done. And I said, if I crash, I crash. But at least I'm going to put myself forward into that mode. I'm going to make myself focus, write the songs, get into the studio, go out and, you know, I found a producer. I'm going to keep moving forward with this music. Oh, and by the way, getting on social media and start talking, I'm like, okay, what am I going to talk about? I mean, I had a lot of anxiety about that, but I'm like, you know what, just be yourself and talk to people. And I realized that I'm good at talking to people because I want to know their story. And just like you tell people stories and you like to hear other people's stories. Same for me. So yes, confidence was a big time issue. So I wake up in the morning and sometimes I'll see that thing again, that little fear thing, whatever that is. And I'm like, you know what? No, not today, not ever. Bye. So I think you've got to do a little self-talk and you've got to say, you know what you want, go get it. There's always going to be that little distraction or that little thing that whatever was there in the beginning, it's going to come back and, you know, try to knock on your door. And you just have to say, nope, I know what you are. And that's not what I want. I want that. So that's what I'm going to go get.
I love that, because my next question was when shit hits the fan.
It does.
And it does. And everyone, somebody wrote me a thing the other day. They laughed. I had said that, and they said, when shit hits the fan, it does not evenly disperse. And I was like, that is so true.
Yeah,
that's
so
another
true.
one that's going in my book.
Oh my gosh.
But so when it does hit the fan, my friend, my beautiful, amazing friend,
Thank you.
What do you do? What is your reaction? How does April Diamond handle that?
Yes. So, so
On a good day.
yes.
I don't always handle every splatter well, by the way.
On a good day, on a
But
rough
on a
day,
good day.
I tell myself, you know what? Even when you feel like it's not working, even when it's sort of crashing, get up and keep going. Do the steps. Do the steps, face your fears, deal with the complications, call your dad. Dad! He's like, what? 1, 2, 3, get to work, and I have to thank my dad for that. I hope my dad will see this. When I was younger, I would come to my dad with problems, and I would say, Dad, it's not working, this thing, this problem, whatever. And he's like, well, did you try this? Well, did you try this? No. Well, did you try this? Okay. Well, go try those things, and then try these 3 more things. And after about 6 or 10 things, if you still don't have it figured out, call me, but you'll figure it out. And so I've taken that, my dad's so mean, he makes me do it myself, but he taught me a life lesson that has stayed with me. There is always a way. It doesn't matter what things look like. I mean, it does and it doesn't. It matters because that's your learning hill to climb, and it's also learning who you are and just how badass you are at what you do, because you're better than what you realize. We're kind of hard on ourselves, especially creatives. We're tough on ourselves, really tough, but we need to get up and go and watch ourselves kind of from a third person perspective, look back and go, you know what, I actually did do that. You know what, I actually functioned that day. You know what, it actually turned out a little bit better than I thought, even though it wasn't my full result.
Right.
So you climb your hills. You have your days when you just want to lay in bed and cry for a minute. I've done that.
Yeah.
And just, okay, now I'm fine. Let's go. Let's get some coffee. Let's go. And then get up and do. Relax, decompress, like you and I are about to do. And then get back on the horse and get back on the machine and make it happen.
Yeah. No, I love that.
Because you'll make it. You will make it.
Yeah. When you look back at some of the biggest obstacles in your own life, to give the audience a little bit more about you and maybe some of those moments, when you look back, are there some significant moments that you're like, man, I'm so glad I made it through that. That was a tough one, but I got through it.
Yes. Yes, there were some moments in my life that I thought it was the end. And I would think, I remember feeling that. Like a movie, if I have to say goodbye to this, then okay, I'll accept it. I won't be happy about it, but I'm going to do everything I can to not let that happen. And then through the process of life, and struggling through and getting back up again. Yeah, I look back and there are some situations, there's some people in my life that had to leave. There were just, all kinds of things that I would have never predicted would ever happen, and it really broke my heart.
Right.
Honestly. And I had my heart broken a few times, big time. And I had to say, you can either let that define you, or you can learn from it and become a powerful person and teach other people how to, come back from it. So I look back on those moments and I'm like, woo, I feel good.
Right.
I'm
right.
like, again, it goes back to you're more powerful, you're stronger than you think. You can do more than you think. You have it in you, because when you have nothing else and you've got just you to depend on, you'd be surprised at what you can do.
Right. Right.
And a couple phone calls to dad and a couple of friends. Hey, can you help me with something? And let me just say, build your village, because you can't do it by yourself. You need your friends. You need the people that love you and believe in you. I need Aaliyah because she's telling my story, and she needs me so I can tell her, go relax. And I want you to tell your story on my Instagram Live.
I know.
But,
I love it. Well, it's the beginning of collaborations. Thank you for sharing that.
Exactly.
Because I also think, and you brought up a good point about some people that you have to let go.
Yes.
Usually in really living your purpose, what some people don't recognize is that you are the average of the 5 people you spend your time with. So if you see your purpose is different than what it currently is, the state that you're in, then you sometimes have to make those changes. And sometimes cutting out, especially if they're toxic, not everyone who's related to us is necessarily healthy for us, or in our lives are healthy for us. And it's a decision, but it's an empowering decision to say, I love you, whomever you are.
Sure.
But I also love myself, and I love my peace of mind.
Yes.
And for that reason, I have to do what I got to do. Moving forward, what are the things that you're working on right now? And by the way, that's why I think, you when you speak, I can sense your pain.
Yes.
I can see you holding back. So I get that. But then I can't help it while you're getting teared up. I'm imagining the video of you dancing among these amazing children.
Yes.
You have this song that you are clearly trying to give people an upbeat vibe. Make them dance. Make them feel something other than sadness.
Right.
So
Exactly.
So, what is inspiring that? And how do you want people to really come away from your music?
And as far as the tearing up, crying thing, I just think that's being honest, because don't be afraid to cry, because I feel better after that. Because it's a process of letting go. And when you let go of the things you need to let go of, whether it's people, situations, whatever it is, let go. And then the freedom of who you are and everything that you're doing floods in, and you're like, I had no idea I would feel so much better. So I just let that happen. And the songwriting thing, that's hard to tell the world, my story, but I'm starting to now.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and you tell it what makes it comfortable for you. And, but it's an amazing journey as an artist when people can connect with you and get to know those parts of you. So make sure people stay connected to her IG. If you're not on it, we'll tell it at the end, because you can get more involved with her. But I Got the Music in Me. What inspired? I mean, tell me the story. Was it? I know you guys did a remake, but was it a napkin? What was it like? How did that go down?
So the whole thing went down because David and I were talking about all the original music that we were making, and I said, I feel like we just need a feel-good remake song, something. And I had some ideas of some things, and we were talking over the phone. And I said, we could do this song, do that song. And by the way, there are a couple that are going to come out too, and they're amazing. But we're going to do more original music for a while. But he said, this one song, I Got the Music in Me, although other artists have remade it, he said it's a great theme, and it's a really happy, upbeat song, and I think it will be catchy. And he said, I have an idea of a catchy hook for it. And I was like, okay. So he put together some rough tracks, and I'm like, okay, I'm down. We'll check it out. I went into the studio. I listened to Kiki D's original, and I'm like, wow, what a voice with that grit and that, that live sound in the 70s. Everything was just kind of straight up, right there. It's almost like when they recorded the band and the vocals, everything all at the same time. And it was that nice live sound. I love that. So, Kiki, if you're watching, I love it. I hope you like what we did with the song. So I went into the studio and I listened to the hook that David created, and we were going through some things, and I sang it. And the truth is, I sang it in the original key. And he said, for the type of song that we're trying to create to make it more pop or more dance, the higher notes, that key doesn't really work for that. And I'm thinking, okay, I really want to sing in that original key, because I like to sing the high notes. Excuse me. I love to sing the high notes. And he's like, yeah, I tested it. And some of the DJs, they feel the same way, like, it's not quite, in that
the
pocket.
DJs, got to get the DJs.
Yeah, because they're going to play it,
Right.
and the radio stations and that kind of thing. So he changed the key to a more relaxed place for my voice. And he literally reproduced the entire song again in order to fit that key. So after we reproduced it, I was rolling it over my head. And he was talking about, okay, let's have an echo. I got the music in me. I got the music in me, that part. And he's like, I'll just stack your vocals and you can sing the echo. And I was like, what if a choir sang that? What if a choir sang that? I grew up singing in choirs as a kid.
Right.
So choir is near and dear and close to my heart. I was always singing in choirs in church and school and going out for solos. I did that whole choir thing. And so I'm like, I'm a choir kid. And I thought of the John Burroughs High School show choir, and they are the #1 show choir in the country. Like, these kids will blow your mind with how good they are. Blow your mind. They read the parts that David wrote for them, which were difficult chords, okay? They read that in like a half an hour, learned their part, all 4 parts, recorded them individually there at the school in this little slot in the acting classroom, where it was kind of, a little cove where we could, put some mics in there and keep the sound
Right.
in one area. And those kids recorded it in an hour and a half on pitch. On pitch.
Wow.
It is hard to sing all the right notes together, because here's the other thing. You can't fix it in the studio because it's a group sing. So you can't fix individual voices. They have to be on it. So those kids sang it spot on, exactly the way they were supposed to, and I'm so proud of them. And it turned out so much more amazing than I even thought it was going to be. And the thing I love about it, and the thing I like, the celebratoriness of the song, and I love it because now kids are going to hear it on the radio. And our message of We Are One is like, come on, you guys, let's get back into the world. And by the way, this is the first high school show choir to ever be on a recording artist song. And now you're hearing them on the radio. So if it was your kids going to school, right, and your kid's in this choir and you're turning on the radio and you're like, that's my son. That's my daughter singing on that song. What a cool thing for a parent, right?
Absolutely.
But for the kids too. So, the kids, I really have a heart for the kids right now. And I just feel like, for them, they'll hear it and go, yay, go us,
Yes.
right? It's encouraging to them. But it's also a celebratory kind of song and a celebration where we can just, everybody's got the music in them.
Mm-hmm.
People say, no, April, not everyone's musical. Yes, they are musical. Like when you're just like making a sound or just like in the car singing a song. Have you ever like been in the car and sang a song before?
Right.
Like anything? Or if you've hummed something, or if you snapped your fingers, or you're like just grooving to something or humming to something, that's musicality, right? So everybody gets to come to the party. Everybody gets to be musical. That's what I really love about it.
I love that. I mean, isn't the voice like the first instrument technically? I mean, really,
yes.
if you want to be literal
Gregorian
about
chant.
Yeah,
That's where it started, yeah.
And so when people get done listening to your music, what do you want them to come away from with it? Like, what's the feeling you want them to feel?
I want them to ask, where's her album and where are the other records?
That's a well-trained artist right there. I'm just gonna say, kudos to your publicist.
Thank you. I have my own one right now.
She's like, no, I mean, I just love it because I'm being silly, but I'm also being very honest because that is what you should. When people are like, "What's your favorite book?" I'm like, mine. I wrote it, and I'll give you both of them. I'm like, why am I gonna?
I can't wait to read your book. Right? I'm gonna read your book. I'm sorry, I haven't read it yet.
No, it's okay. I know. I was like, I didn't bring them to the event because I wanted everyone to just. Did you have a good time at the event?
Oh my gosh, I had a good time. The only thing I did not have a good time with was walking down those steps. Yeah. I'm like, okay, balance.
Right.
I
know. I was like, is it going to really look good? So I had to have it outside, and I had a limited invite-only guest list, exclusive guest list. So we had 2 decks that were spread apart between this magnificent staircase that saw the beautiful view. But yes, I imagined a couple of my friends, I even, I was like, just somebody had said dress attire, and I was like, well, just no. But see, I had less of a problem with the steps and more of a problem with the deck. And I'm because I meant to bring another, that was the one, which is just side note. I know I'm telling the bad things, but I would have brought another carpet. They didn't have another carpet, but if you have an outdoor party and you have a lot of ladies in heels and you're planning one, just keep in mind we will fall through the slats.
The slats,
and
yes, that's a problem.
That can, especially for me, a couple people were smart enough to wear the thick heels. I'm still in the skinny heel phase, not really into the chunks.
I wore the thick ones. These actually are the ones I wore, so they're fat enough.
Yeah, see, there you go. Those are so in. I need to go get some because I didn't get that. I got, so that's why I was like falling. I was like joking that I had a limp, but.
I know, come on, the world needs to understand the female issues.
Right. And guys have it so lucky.
Yeah, they do. It's real simple for them. So we have a few issues like slats, not good.
Yeah,
not good.
For sure.
No slats.
So, but I'm glad you had fun at the event. You as a person, as an independent who aspires to make an impact, how does living your purpose really feed that desire?
The more I do, the more I want to do, I suppose, is the best way to answer it. And the more I succeed and the more I meet amazing people that want me to succeed, that puts me in the place to continue to grow out and just, keep going. I think that the only hindrance to that sometimes can be, just the wealth and the wealth of information, technology, the time spent, the people that you have to bring to make it happen. It's overwhelming. You're creating an entire thing that's not ever been. So it's piece by piece. As Grandma says, you eat the elephant one piece at a time,
Right.
Mine I have like 3 elephants, okay? So it's like all coming at me. But every piece that I grab and every step that I go higher gives me and feeds my fire for more.
Right.
And to realize, like, if I could have told my younger self just how far I would have wound up going, my younger self would have been like, I don't think that my brain could absorb that.
Right.
So now that I'm here, I want to say to people, maybe the younger people or just getting started in the entertainment business or whatever it is you want to do, just start pushing forward. And you're going to have to ignore the distractions, and you're going to have to ignore the haters and people that don't believe in you.
Right.
Because there will be lots of them. But they're there to test you, to make sure that you don't let that keep you from it.
Right. It's always too early to quit.
Yes.
Right?
Absolutely.
And I love that you say that, because the singing industry, the music industry, singing, anybody, any industry, to be fair, is highly competitive.
Very
right? Highly. You
yes.
can go down in Santa Maria on the promenade, and there's a whole lot of talented. This is the conversation I want to have. Talent is something that a lot more people have than we realize, right? But taking that talent and being able to hone in on your other skills and tapping into people resources that can actually take you to make you great, to make you from the coulda, woulda, shoulda to the hell yeah, I'm doing this.
Right.
Takes focus, and it takes dedication. And like you said, there's all these distractions that are trying to throw you off your game.
Right.
How do you stay focused? What are the things that you do to keep you focused so that you're not deterred by those things?
Right. So I have mentors that I reach out to that help get me focused into the place I need to be in mentally. I pray, I read, I go through my mission statement in the morning, and I remind myself of what it is I want to do and where I want to go. I take care of my body, my health.
Right.
I get up earlier in the morning and I do these extra things. Like, I know this sounds silly, but taking the supplements and doing my protein drink and all of these other things keep my energy up, which keeps the brain focused. And any lack of any of those things can be the breaking point to where you will just say, I just don't have the jam anymore. I don't have the effort.
Right.
I don't want to make the effort anymore. So building up your body and your mind. And when you set your body and your mind to the things that you want to do, and you realize, okay, I personally, my health and my mental state are part of that. So I have to make sure that that is spot on. So I've made a lot of changes, especially over the years, but in the last year, a lot.
Right.
Saying goodbye to certain foods, saying goodbye to certain, like, to go to bed at 9 o'clock, I started doing that. And I'm like, wow. But I'm up at 5 o'clock and I can get these things done and get organized. And I see why these, you have to think about some of these corporate people and these heads of big, big companies. Like, these guys wake up at 3:30 in the morning. And I'm like, 3:30? Okay, well, I want to be that successful. So I'm going to start working my way up to, getting up in the morning. But I understand the importance of that. So it's that. And it's every day taking what you do and figuring out, what, can I do it better? How can I reinvent this and make it better? And with music, I'll look at some of the lyrics that I've written and I'll say, okay, that's okay, but let me also talk about this and this and this. It's almost like one thing feeds the other. So I just, keeping track of everything, always in a positive spin, no matter, even if that wasn't the right thing, that still gave me the idea to spin off to whatever is the right thing, whatever's going to be the right song, the right line, the right approach. So you keep trying and you keep getting better, and you don't let things get in your way. And when they do, you're like, excuse me, just move it over there. No, move it over there. No, just move it over there.
Right.
No,
right.
Keep moving things out of the way.
Yeah, no, I love that. And I really love that you said, well, actually, no, I don't know why you said I know it's silly, because I think it's amazing. I remember Joan Rivers one time said a statement, and it was more about plastic surgery, but her point was, you don't buy a house, right? We have houses, we have structures, or even cars, but a house. If you buy a house, it can be beautiful, newly made, newly done, new construction. But in 30 years, it's not going to be new construction anymore.
Right.
There will have been some wind, some rain, paint is coming off. I mean, especially by 30. It's like, to your point, it could just take so little for that house to become an abandoned, uninhabitable building. Our bodies are the same thing. We know that there are some things that with time are going to happen, and how can we mitigate those to be the best version or take care of ourselves the longest that we can,
Right.
is something that I don't think enough people take responsibility for. And I mean that. Like you go to a doctor and expect the doctor to fix you. Okay, what's wrong with me? Give me some medications that's going to fix me. But what about the part that's our responsibility?
Yeah, our responsibility. And the thing about doctors is I don't really go to the doctor that much. I'm probably due for checkups and all those things, but I'm preventative.
Right.
Because I know this and this equals this. So I do like the best essential oils. I, do my supplements. I drink a lot of water. I stay away from certain things that I know are just not going to make my body function at tip-top shape. I add things that I don't like that don't taste good.
Right.
I'm like, boo, how can I make it taste better? I'm pretty good at that. But then some things like celery juice in the morning, gross.
Like my 4-year-old who puts ketchup on everything. I'm like, girl, how you put, I was like, I don't know. She must have got that from her dad. She did not get it from me. But
so it's just ketchup. I can't eat that. But there's so many things that you've got to say. I think it's hard to say no to the things in our culture, like when we're sitting down for dinner or we're at situations or wherever we are. We have to always make the decisions that, not selfish in any way, but just make the decisions that are right for us, that move our thing forward. Right. And it sometimes comes down to things that we don't personally want to get rid of. There's certain things that we really like, and you realize, okay, do I want that or do I want to be successful? Yeah. And you have to make a decision, and you sometimes have to let things go that you're like, man, I really like that food. I really like Mexican food.
By the way, though, it's interesting when you say that. I feel like, but you can take it a level up. It's not just successful in, how you're living physically. It's in your relationships. Yes. Sometimes we need to let go of bad habits. Maybe it's in your job, you know, all these different things, your career, your work. Like, it's just it goes so much further. But I agree. Once those principles are instilled in you, then they do jump to these other areas of life where you are more, this word, emotionally intelligent. Yes. I know that people are using them a lot these days, but I really like these words. EQ. These are words. This is a word, because my parents lacked that. When people ask, how did you end up homeless at 14 years old? Honestly, now my answer is I had emotionally unintelligent parents. And that's the truth. And so, I love that you speak to that, because I feel like you're always wanting people to be the best version of them. I think that's why people love connecting with you. And in the tens of thousands, you have hundreds of thousands, if not more than that, because I know you really love your community, and your community loves you.
My follower family, I call them. Yes. That's the hashtag, my follower family.
Which I love, because my thing was friends, not followers. That was my hashtag for a minute, and then I took it off because I didn't have enough space at the top. But gotcha. I was always and I always didn't like be my follower, and then I had friends who are in the music industry or industry in general, and they're like, I'm only going to follow 30 people back. And I'm like, but I know you, and you're not even going to follow me. Oh, I'm not cool enough. Oh, well then, you take your 3 million followers, you'll just be one less. Okay, you'll be 2,999,000.
Exactly.
Because I genuinely feel there's a lot of people out there that they just want followers. They want people to pay attention to them, but they don't want to reciprocate.
Yeah, and that's performing, and some people that's their thing. That's they want to put up pretty pictures and they want to do a thing, and that's what their thing is. But my thing is about the people, and I am inspired by them, by what they tell me. And I'm a relational kind of person, right? So when people are talking to me, I get excited about what they're saying. Oh, I do this or I do that, or I'm from this other country and this is what we do here. And I'm like, really? What time is it there in China? Or what time is it in India? Or what time is it in Pakistan? And they'll say, I'm doing this and it's this time. Oh, okay, well, at this time, this is what we do. And it's just fun, relational, cultural things. I learn about other people and their culture.
I love that. Well, for our listening audience, make sure you tell them where they can stay connected and support you, and your albums, where they can find your music.
Thank you. Yes, you can follow me on Spotify. April Diamond on Spotify. You can follow me on my Instagram, IG. It's my big birthday week this week, at April Diamond Music. And shout out, say hello. And I do return messages, and I do try to get back to all of them. So if you leave comments on my Instagram, I will comment you back and say hey. And if you heard of me from here at Aaliyah's interview, her podcast here, please shout out to Aaliyah as well.
Yes,
I heard of April on Aaliyah's podcast.
Let her know. We are globally rated, top 5%. Y'all better go check her out and show up.
Love it. And follow Aaliyah too.
Yeah.
There she is, unsugarcoated.
But what's next?
So I have been in the studio in the past week and a half, working on the next round of new songs. I'm 3/4 of the way through having a full album. And then the next single, Diamonds, is coming out. So we were going to release it sooner, but the song I Got the Music in Me is doing so well on radio that we spent a little more time on promotion for the radio. But Diamonds, I expect, will be out in fall. And then right behind that will be another one. And then right behind that, I think we're going to have an album. So by the end of the year. And I want to squeeze in a Christmas song. I'm trying to figure out right now how to get that in there because I always like to sing Christmas songs and put something up there at the holidays. And so We Are One Concerts is ramping back up, and we're starting our fundraising efforts up again. And there will be more coming with that. So if you go to weareoneconcerts.org, you'll learn about the mission, about where we want to go with it, and how your kids in different cities around the country can be part of We Are One Concerts.
Amazing, amazing.
Yeah.
Well, I look forward to the many amazing things you'll continue doing, powerful, impactful, helping others, and not only helping others find their purpose and like find that joy through the music and find, that connection, but also you living your purpose. Like, bravo to you. Bravo for not letting anybody else get in your way. And I'm excited to keep seeing what you do next.
I appreciate that. I appreciate you, Aaliyah. You really bring out the best in people, and you really you don't mind getting to their story and finding out the heartbreaking stories and tell the world about it. And it's sometimes hard to watch and hear about other people's heartbreak, but it helps us relate, and it helps us be endeared to each other. Like, you know what, you're not the only one.
Right.
And you want to go, it makes you more sensitive to people. Like, you don't know what people are going through. So be real careful to be kind.
Right. Agreed.
Yeah.
Agreed.
And so you're really good at that. And I love your whole thing, your platform. And I think the world needs it.
My thing. I'm a superhero. We're going to change the world. It's such a daunting thing to say. But you know what? We're doing it together. Thank you so much for being part of my journey. I appreciate you. And we'll be back we'll have you back in the studio once you get that next song done.
Wonderful. Thank you so much.
And when you start winning them Grammys.
Yes, girl. Yes, girl. Let it be. Let it be. Thank you so much. I had a great time.
Thank you so much. And to everyone at home, we so hope you have enjoyed and appreciate all the amazing people that we've had on this season and April today. Be sure to continue supporting, and we'll be back next season. Don't worry, but if you missed anything, go back. If you've missed anything this is season 8. Season 8, guys. Season 9 is coming. Stay tuned. In the meantime, thank you so much for letting us be unsugarcoated. We'll see you soon. Take care.
What are you still doing here? Come back next week.